Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we are going to make interactive art by drawing a bubble wand with bubbles. Let's get started. What you will be needing today is a piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, something to trace your drawing with. I'm going to use a Sharpie. You can use anything you have. You're going to need something to color with. I'm going to use some crayons today. You can use markers or colored pencils, or watercolor paint would work really well. And we're going to need a scissor to cut out our drawing. And depending on what kind of paper you're using, the paper I'm using today is quite thick. It's not very floppy. You might need a glue stick and some type of cardboard. I have a tissue box that was empty. You can use a cereal box or any type of thicker cardboardy material is going to work. I'm going to put that aside because I won't need it until the end. But you might need that if your paper is very thin and floppy. What we are going to make today is some interactive art. Some artists make things like paintings and drawings. Other artists make 3D art like sculptures or ceramics like we make with our clay. And some artists make something called performance art. Performance art is when you become a part of the artwork, whether you're interacting with a drawing or a painting, or you're doing a type of dance or making a video. There's all different kinds of performance art out there. Now the interactive kind of art we're going to make is going to be a drawing of a bubble wand that we're going to pose with and take a picture, and positioning ourselves in a way that brings the artwork to life. So on our piece of paper, I'm holding it horizontally today so it is long, going left to right, and I have more space to draw outwards that way. I'm going to start by drawing a bubble wand. To do that, I'm going to do a big oval. Now I want this nice and big because I am going to cut it out. I'm going to do a long rectangle coming down from my oval, and I'm going to do a second oval inside my first one that's a little bit smaller. So now I have an edge to shape my bubble wand. Next, you can draw your bubbles coming out of your wand. I like to do my first one as a big wiggly shape. So I started inside my little oval, and I brought that line all the way out and then back in. And then coming off of this, I can make some more lumpy and bumpy bubbles. And then all the way at the end, maybe I want some that are a little bit more round and perfect, more circular. I can have some small ones in here and some medium-sized ones. I think that's going to be good. I want to keep all my bubbles in one little cluster, so it's going to be easy for me to go all around the outside of this and cut it out. Maybe I can even fit another one right here. And it's okay if your circles are not perfect, because bubbles aren't always perfect, especially when you're first blowing them out of your wand. Now I'm also going to draw a little oval-y shape inside my bubbles as a little highlight or reflection. You don't have to do this, but I think it makes them look a little bit more shiny before I'm going to start to color them in. So I'm just going to do that on the top edge of all of my bubbles. I'm going to do a really weird wiggly one on that one. There we go. Now that I'm done, I'm going to trace all of my pencil lines with my Sharpie. So I went in and I traced all my pencil lines with my Sharpie, and once I was finished, I erased any lines I could still see with my eraser. If you don't have a Sharpie, you can always use a dark crayon, a colored pencil, or a marker. Even a regular pen is going to work. Now I can color in my bubble wand and my bubbles. Your bubbles you can make all one color, you can make them all different colors. It's up to you. I think I'm going to use a bunch of different bright colors to fill in my bubbles. Now, the cool thing about soap bubbles is they're reflective when they are in sunlight. So that means they shine in all different colors. So I'm going to go around with a bunch of different colors and swirling those by just coloring a little bit around the outer edges and a little bit in the middle. I'm just coloring in around the outer edges of my bubbles in certain spots, and then I'm drawing little circles or almost like the same shape of whatever my bubble is in the middle. Like I said, you can color in your whole bubble if you would like. Maybe your bubble soap is all a cool color. You can do that. That is totally fine. Yours does not have to look like mine. You can make yours look however you would like. I'm just using my other color and I'm filling in some of my space around the edge. I'm adding more circles by coloring in the center. I'm coloring lightly with my crayon so I get a lighter color. And I'm being careful to leave those inside ovals that I drew white as a highlight. So I want to leave those white to show that that's where maybe the sun is hitting my bubble and it's going to stay nice and light. I'm adding some yellow inside my bubbles. And I picked a really neon yellow so it's nice and bright. And I'm just doing the same thing where I'm going around the edges, filling in any white space and adding some in the middles. I'm going to go in with a little bit of green too. We'll see how that looks. And I do want to leave a good amount of white space in my bubbles today. Since bubbles are see-through, they are clear. We do want a lot of white in there. And I think I'm just going to bring a little bit of pink just for some fun. And we can just experiment by mixing these colors together inside our bubble and making all these cool shapes and colors. And I think that's good for coloring in my bubbles. I'm going to pick a color for my bubble wand, and then I can start to cut it out. I think I'm going to do a bright pink wand today. And I'm just going to color inside of my Sharpie lines that I drew. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of my bubble colors inside my wand too, just to show that that's where it is coming from. There we go. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to cut out my entire bubble wand and my bubbles. So the way that I want to cut this out is I want to get nice and close to my bubble wand, but I want to go around all of my bubbles. I don't want to cut out my bubbles individually. I want it to be one whole piece when I'm finished. Something that could help you is by drawing a line, going around your picture to show where you want to cut it out. So I'm just doing a little light line with my pencil, going all the way around so I know where I'm going to cut. So I'm just going to cut along that pencil line. And if you don't have scissors at home, you can just leave your drawing the way it was. You don't have to do this part. That is totally optional. So now I have my bubble wand drawing cut out. I want to be able to hold my bubble wand and make it look like I'm blowing bubbles. So when you hold the stick of your bubble wand, if it's too floppy and you don't think you'll be able to hold it up and make it look like you're blowing bubbles, you can glue some pieces on the back to make it a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more stiff so it stands straight up. So I'm going to grab my glue stick and I'm going to grab that tissue box that I had. And I'm just going to cut off some pieces of cardboard off of this box. You might need mom or dad to help you. I'm just going to cut a little piece of my box off. I don't need a lot. And I'm going to cut this into little rectangles that I can use to make my picture a little bit stronger. And when I glue these on, I want them to be small enough where I don't see them. So I'm going to lay them out first. That looks like it's going to work. I think I'm going to do one like that. One there. This one looks like it's going to be a little too big. So I am going to cut a little bit off of that one because I don't want to be able to see it on the other side. So I'm going to cut a little bit more off. That's perfect. I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm just going to glue these onto the back of my paper. And it's just going to make my paper a little bit stronger. So now when I hold this stick part of my drawing, it doesn't flop back and forth as easily. I can hold it straight up and it's not bending either way because I made it nice and strong on the back. Now my bubble wand is all finished and all ready for me to pose with, so I can throw out my scraps, clean up my area, and bring this outside to take a picture. So once you are finished, you can take a picture with your project, holding it up like you are blowing bubbles to finish your interactive art piece. If you'd like to share your picture with me, you can send it to me through email. I would love to see it. Have fun, try your best, and get creative. Bye!